Good morning, Facebook followers. My name's Tom Loewy. I am a reporter from the Galesburg Register-Mail. And after spending part of the morning rigging up my car with my tripod, you know, it'd be easier to buy a GoPro. I recognize this, but not everyone has endless technology budgets. So what I've done here is I've set up my tripod in my car. That's in direct response to viewers who pointed out that when I used to ride around for weather stories holding my phone, it probably wasn't the safest way to broadcast. But what I'm doing is I'm going to take a quick drive along Galesburg roads to kind of show people what things are like. Some people are very nervous about the ice. And last night, my editor, Jay Redford, and I talked about it. Between about 2 and probably 8 o'clock, maybe 9 o'clock, maybe even earlier, the roads were difficult, treacherous. And after that, it had warmed sufficiently, and traffic, friction from traffic, it made most of the roads pretty safe. I'm on South Swangataha Road right now. We're going to be coming up to East Main Street. And so, as you can see, the road's really damp. There is ice in patches. There is some ice and slush on the edges of the roads. And you still need to obviously drive with caution. I wouldn't recommend, running late for anything and trying to hurry. But what we're looking at are really clear roads, and I'm going to show you Main Street here. The real thing to be aware of and be careful of, and we're going to drive through a couple of them, are parking lots and sidewalks and steps. Areas that are not heavily traveled, that might not have been cleaned off in any way, and might not have been salted. So those are the areas that we really want to, this morning, caution people about, because you get out on the roads and they're great, and you can quickly develop the impression that everything's melted off. I mean, it's 32 degrees right now. Forecasts are anywhere from the temperature rising to 34, 35 degrees this afternoon. The sun's even supposedly coming out. I don't see any evidence of that yet. But, the mistake to make is assuming that all the surfaces outside are as clear as our roads. And that's just not the case. And we're going to take a look through some of the more well-traveled parking lots and places that are cared for. Obviously, salting walkways as the day goes on will make things safer. But as you can see here in Hy-Vee, where they take really good care of their parking lot, you can see that they can't get every bit of moisture up off the ground. And so where there's moisture, there's still areas of ice. And that's the point we want to make with people, is that there's going to be ice out there for probably the remainder of today, and then things are going to get cold again tonight, and so you're looking at some more patches of ice tomorrow. And so just a reminder, Jay Redford and I were talking about it. You get a little bit older, we've both experienced this, and it's, for some reason it seems like either it's easier to fall, or when you do fall, it's far more devastating. I remember being in my 20s and falling down and getting right back up. And then I remember 2 years ago falling, and it was rough. So we really want to encourage people to still drive with a lot of caution. As you can see, like the middle lanes here, you're looking at still a lot of slush. There might be some ice in there. So we're recommending that you knock a few miles off the speedometer and ease up on it a little bit. And then, more importantly, when getting out of your car, make sure you make sure you're cautious and you pay attention to where you're walking as much as possible, and to take your time getting in and out of places, because not everything melts at the same rate. Not everything melts, and not everything can be, as you can see, people are putting down salt, but not everything can be salted. So that was our little ride down Main Street. Looks like I found a way to broadcast from the car. Now things might get crazy, but once again, anybody who's got any kind of road news or weather related news, feel free to leave a comment in the comments section. We're looking at, most of our streets are pretty well clear of ice. You are looking at some areas on the corners, on the edges, on the sides, where there's still ice present, and there's certainly a lot of slush. So you want to be careful, and you want to drive with some caution. But anyone who's got weather or road related news, if you want to add that to the comments section right below, you can do that. We're looking at some of the side streets here in Galesburg, and it is looking like the roads are, I just slid a little bit there. I think that was some moisture, but we're looking at pretty clear roads. Last night was another story, starting at about, well, it started and then it stopped. We had a little sleet in the morning. We had some precipitation in the afternoon, and it stopped, and then by about 2 o'clock we got pretty steady precipitation, and it iced up very quickly because the ground is so cold. And I spoke to a weather person about this and read up a little bit about it, but when the ground has been so cold for so long, it's not heating up, so it acts as a kind of coolant. It acts as almost like a freezer. Things that touch it, or things that are on it, get cold very fast and can freeze at a more rapid rate. And so that's what you're looking at with with the profound cold that we've had over the last 2 weeks. So as you can see, some of the side streets still a little slushy, and again, I want to stress, I don't want to say no ice, because the ground is very cold, and it's still possible that you're going to hit ice patches. So I wouldn't drive with fear. I wouldn't not drive today. I'm not recommending that. We're simply recommending, when you're out and about, use some caution. I'm going about 26 miles an hour, and I don't feel like I'm holding anybody up, and I don't feel like I'm endangering anyone either. So, as we look out on Loewy Street, we're going to do one quick ride around here. Once again, to let people know what we're doing. We're just kind of taking a look at Galesburg's roads and streets. We are on Loewy. We're going to go over North Seminary, and we'll go down to Henderson, and then we'll probably shut this thing down. But we wanted to show people, because schools have been closed and some people have been inside. Like I didn't go out yesterday after I did my running in the afternoon. I just stayed in the rest of the evening, watched bad football, so I wasn't even really too sure of what I would find this morning. I figured that most of the roads would be clear because of the temperature and because of the great work that the city of Galesburg does on the streets, on the roads and streets. And I knew that heavily trafficked areas, those don't stay icy very long. Plus, we're not getting I don't think we got quite the amount of precipitation that was originally expected. It was 90% for most of the day, And that just didn't happen yesterday, thankfully. But once again, the ground is still very frozen, still very cold. And so when you look at sidewalks, when you look at walkways, when you look at some parking lots, it's just not possible to get every bit of ice up. Some liquid is still, some of the water is still frozen. And so we're really cautioning people to take their time walking. You get out and about today, that's great, but just be aware that not every inch of every available walk space can be ice, can be salted or shoveled or dealt with. And so it's a simple fact that we're going to be dealing with ice patches for a few days probably, and the trend at night is going to be, for the next 5 days or so, is going to be about 20 degrees at night. And so we're going to get some refreezing going on, and that brings up a point, driving at night, people who work late, out late, having fun, you still got to be conscious of the fact that there may be, their ice patches may develop during the evening into the night. And so that's something to be aware of as you're out and about. So I'm gonna shut this thing down here as I get on North Henderson Street. I'm bound for McDonald's, where I'm gonna get an iced coffee. I don't know if anyone knows this, but if you get one of their iced coffees, I get them plain, no sugar, no cream, and they're really good. So in the comments section, you can tell me where you got your coffee this morning, or where you get it in the mornings. But thanks for following us along here on Galesburg's Roads and Streets, and we'll talk to you soon.